Margaret and I met at BYU, both very active in the LDS faith.
My grandpa was a stake patriarch, my dad has served as a bishop, and my mom has served as a stake young women's president.
We have 5 children, Nicole, Clint, Kyle, and Ryan also.
My older brother is extremely autistic to the point of not being able to talk or do almost anything by himself.
Clint has taught us a lot. He's a very special spirit. He requires total care, and Margaret has been a devoted mother to him. Takes care of him every day.
The rest of my brothers and I all served on missions, and everyone who's married was married in the temple.
Just had our youngest son, Tyler, return from his mission to Oregon. We had Kyle in 1986.
I always knew that I was different from other boys, but I wasn't able to pinpoint exactly what it was. I didn't figure it out until I was about 12 years old. My body started developing an attraction to guys and not one at all to girls. That's when I realized that there was a good chance that I was gay, and that terrified me. That was the last thing in the world I wanted.
He loves the church. He loves kids. He wants to have a family. He wants to, why would he ever choose this?
I was called to the Russia-Moscow South mission. When I was almost halfway through my mission, my mom ended up getting really sick.
I started having trouble with my stomach, and in the middle of the night I became really sick. Ended up going into the hospital from there, and I had liver failure. I was in the hospital for about a week. My skin turned bright yellow.
She was yellow. She looked bad.
And I was very sick and in extreme pain, extremely painful. They put me on medication for it and told me that it was permanent and that somewhere down the road I would need a transplant. I was very scared, and through prayer, through the experiences I had, I got the message that I did not have the pure love of Christ in my heart, and I had come here to learn that. So I went in for a liver biopsy, and a week before Christmas, the nurse from the specialist's office called and said, "Your liver is perfectly fine." And they tapered me off the medication, and I got well. So I came out of that experience trying to figure out how I get the pure love of Christ in my heart. And I had some amazing experiences after that. One was that there was a young woman that I became friends with. I got to know her really well, and then I found out she was gay and was living the gay lifestyle. And I was really worried about it because I just really loved her. I said to my husband, I need to talk to her. I need to talk to her and tell her this is not okay to be living this way. And on one occasion, I was giving her a hug, and as I hugged her, I was so in the spirit, and I just profoundly received the message that God had nothing but love for her. That was all that was there, was love. Nothing else, no judgment, nothing else. And it just floored me, because I had thought differently, and I knew that was true. And I had never thought that before. I'd never understood that before. And so it eased my mind, and I no longer felt that judgment of how she was living her life. It was gone. That experience and knowing her changed the way I looked at that. For the rest of my life, that changed.
About a month after I got home from my mission, I got a really strong prompting from the Spirit that it was time to come out to my parents. It was very clear and very strong, but I was terrified. I kind of ignored the prompting for a couple more weeks. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. I was literally shaking.
I was so shocked. Couldn't have been more shocked.
Even then, afterwards she curled up in the fetal position and cried herself to sleep on the couch.
I reached a point one day when I was thinking inside myself. I thought, if there was no one in the world but Kyle and me, would I care? And I realized I wouldn't care. It was only other people's opinions. Then I thought to myself, the opinions of other people was not a good enough reason to hurt my son. And so I let that go.
Realizing what Kyle had been going through his whole life growing up made me realize that he needs to be loved more than anything. He needs our family to wrap around him, and he needs to know that we love him and that we care about him and that we're here for him.
We love him. We'll support him through his life and always welcome him into our home and wish the best for him, no matter what path he takes.
And we'll always walk with him.